Good morning, America. Good morning, planet Earth. What's up? This is your boy Codell, and welcome back to another episode of Father's Gospel Podcast. So glad to have you all here with me. Hey, I've got a good one, like always. We're going to be reviewing a video of a gentleman named Stephen Baskerville. So he is the author of this book right here. Okay. Taken into custody, right? And taken into custody is all about all the corruption that is going on in the family courts and divorce courts, and he's got the data to back it up. And he also debunks the myth that is pushed in society that there is a bunch of deadbeat dads. So it's a really good video. It's about 5 minutes long, not too long, but this information is valuable. You're definitely going to want to know it. And what's really dope is I'm going to be having Stephen Baskerville on the show. So yeah, he's agreed to an interview. Very excited. It's a few months out, but it's coming soon. So anyways, you guys, let's get into this. I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, here we go.
So one of the things that I remember reading in your book that kind of really struck me actually was the thing about deadbeat dads. I think society had almost been brainwashed into thinking there's all these deadbeat dads all over the place. And when I read what you wrote, you said there was no government or academic study that has ever demonstrated, in fact, there's no scientific evidence that has ever adduced to show that large numbers of fathers are voluntarily abandoning their children.
Okay, did you guys hear that? There's never been one study done to show that fathers are abandoning their children in large numbers. And there has been this myth pushed on society, and I know because I heard it nonstop growing up, that there's all these deadbeat dads out there. Now, for me, because I'm in the family courts, I'm dealing with the family courts, I know how bad the family courts are, and then I also deal with a lot of fathers. Here's the thing. The deadbeat dad thing is a myth. Most dads that are not in their children's lives, it's because they're dealing with a family court that is set up to keep them out of their children's lives. It's that simple. So let's keep going, you guys.
The epidemic of fatherlessness is not primarily caused by fathers abandoning their children. Virtually every aspect of what I call the bad divorced dad image has turned out to be a myth. An inaccurate and damaging stereotype. Not only is this myth seriously inaccurate, it has led to harmful and dangerous social policies. When you said that,
It has led to harmful and dangerous social policies. Think about how much radical feminists have taken control of our institutions, everything from education to the courts to corporations to all over the place, right? And then on top of that, if you look at like the prison population, again, this is what I'm always talking about when you like connecting dots. When you look at the prison population, 90% of the prison population come from single mother households. It's facts. You can look it up. 100% truth. 90%. Please, I encourage you to look it up. It has been studied multiple times by tons of different groups and individuals. So let's keep going.
that hit me like a ton of bricks because, like most people, you hear things enough and you start to believe that they're true. When you said that, I said, can this really be
I used
true?
to believe
Can
it.
you talk a little bit more about the research that you did and how you came to that conclusion and so on?
Right. Well, Braver's study came out shortly before my book, and that showed, importantly, it punctured a lot of those myths, like the deadbeat dad. So I was able to build upon Braver's study and just show that the deadbeat dad was not only a myth. I really argued that it was a hoax, that it was contrived, that there was no evidence whatsoever.
Again, it definitely was a hoax. I mean, when you look up the numbers, it's not true. And then also when you're actually in it, when you're someone that's in the family courts, and then you also know a bunch of other dads that are in the family courts, you definitely know it's not true. I know tons of fathers. Again, I know tons of fathers that are going through the family courts like myself, and almost every one of us is getting screwed over in one way or another. Some worse than others, but overall, we're all getting screwed, and it's not okay. So it's definitely a hoax, a deadbeat dad thing.
In fact, that it was a form of an abuse of government power that was not only it was not an empty myth, it was actually quite a serious abuse of innocent people.
Right.
And it starts with the basic foundational injustice is the fact that they can take your children away without you having done anything wrong, legally speaking. And once they do that, they then can force you to pay.
Like myself, I've personally experienced this. I'm experiencing a lot of this right now. Like in my temporary parenting plan right now, it says that I'm not allowed to be around my son unless I take the COVID vaccine or wear a mask. Like it's crazy. I've also got stuff in my parenting plan where it talks about how I'm not allowed to talk about white supremacy around my son, all this crazy stuff. And the thing is my case is been very political because my son's biracial. And so everything has been weaponized against me because I'm an open Trump supporter. And I've stood against BLM and Antifa, all these radical leftists. I'm not down with feminism. And I'm a white dude and my kids, biracial. And so it definitely it's been crazy, man. Like you definitely get targeted. And then on top of that, besides me even dealing with all those political issues, um, as a reason to take my kid away, there's the financial mechanism set in place, Title 4D. So Title 4D is crazy. It's yeah, but let's keep going. I'm talking a little too much.
Pay, as Jed Abraham says in his book, to pay for the filching of your own children. In other words, they take the father's children away and then they send him a bill for the child support.
Right.
And then they can charge virtually any amount of money. The injustices then multiply. They
Right.
pile one upon the other. Having taken your children, they then send you a bill and force you to pay for it. Then they can multiply the amount. There's no limit
Right.
to the amount, basically, that they force you to pay.
Right.
In theory, there are guidelines in every.
Hold up, you guys. I want to ask Grok. Like I know it, but I can't think of the number off the top of my head because he's talking about how the courts force you to pay. I want to see how much money dads had to fork over through, alimony and child support. Grok, how much money did fathers pay in child support and alimony in 2023? Hold up, it's being stupid. There we go. Yeah, I'm asking 2023 because they don't have the 2024 numbers. I've looked this up before. So total child support ordered in 2023 was between 30 to 35 billion. And total child support paid was between 18 to 20 billion. And then average monthly payment per case roughly 430 to 450 for custodial parents receiving support. And then for alimony, 5 to 7 billion annually, much lower than child support. I mean, that makes sense. That doesn't surprise me. Only about 10% of divorces include alimony awards. Okay. Average annual award $10 to $15,000 per recipient. Okay. So combined total for 2023 child support plus alimony paid between 23 to 27 billion dollars nationwide. So, yeah. Okay, that's crazy, man. So yeah, dads are just like, we're getting shafted left and right. So we're paying all this money out and then we're not getting to see our kids. And it's just an endless cycle of fuckery because all of a sudden the kids don't have a dad in their life. And then all of a sudden the kids start growing up and then the boys, they get in trouble. They end up in jail. There's all sorts of bad shit that happens. The girls, they end up getting pregnant at a young age because they're being raised by these narcissistic single moms. But let's keep going.
state, but in practice, the guidelines are so loose and so
Right.
subjective
Right.
that virtually anything qualifies as an excuse to increase
Increased child
the
support.
child support over the guidelines. And of course, there are basic conflicts of interest here.
Right.
Because the high child support levels have several benefits for the divorce industry. First of all, by generously rewarding the mothers with child support, you're giving them incentive to file more divorces.
Right.
By filing more
Right.
divorces, you create more money for the attorneys and for others in the divorce.
And you destroy more families.
Correct.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's a big web. It's this big financial web of legalized child trafficking. Um, because again, it's taking like what it's doing is the way the system's set up because it financially incentivizes divorce and and basically combative behavior in the family courts and it favors women. It's empowering the worst women that America has to offer pretty much. The women that are more than happy to take advantage of that web for their own gain and purpose. And it's something that we gotta correct. Like it must be corrected. So it should be 50-50 mandatory custody for divorce and child custody cases, unless there's evidence of abuse or there's an agreement for a different arrangement between the parents. But yeah, that's what it should be. Let's keep going, and it will be.
You destroy more families. By charging high amounts of divorce, you also of child support, you also channel large amounts of payment through the state divorce child support enforcement machinery.
Right.
And the state governments get federal funds for every dollar they collect. So by setting the
So those federal funds, they come through a mechanism called Title 4D, and so for every dollar of child support a state collects, federal government matches them 66 cents to that dollar. And that 66 cents, I want you to think about that. That's 66 cents, even though it's a government program. Remember, anything that's a government program, that money is not coming from the government. It's coming from the taxpayers. They're taking taxpayer money to fund these programs. So dads, our tax money is being paid to take our children away from us. Think about that. Think about that. It's freaking crazy. But let's keep going. All right. Yeah.
child support high, you first of all encourage more divorce. Secondly, you bring more money through the state coffers, picking up more federal monies,
Right.
which the state can use for any purposes they wish.
Right.
So the state is not, and its functionaries are not disinterested.
Yeah. So did you hear that? So that money, they move a lot of that money they collect through child support into their state coffers. And then that money could be used to fund anything they want. Think about that. So they could use it to help fund more laws and legislation and organizations that are anti-father, that are anti-family, that are pro-feminist. I really want you guys to marinate on what I'm saying. I want you to connect these dots because that's what I'm trying to help you guys do. Trying to help you see the bigger picture. But let's keep going.
Interested parties, they have a very tangible self-interest, vested interest in high divorce, high child support, and criminalized fathers.
In Texas, this is a big issue because I'm maybe you're familiar with this already, but for the last, I believe it's 11 years, Texas has led all of the states in child support collection. And they brag about this. This is a regularly bragging point. Maybe 2 years ago, I think I actually had my video camera there with Attorney General Ken Paxton, and the question was asked about Title 4D money. And he said it creates a lot of money for the state. And, his office is responsible for it. Out of his office, the people that work for the Attorney General, there are 4,200 people. 2,600 of them work in child support enforcement. 62%.
62%. That's what he's about to say. So, did you hear that? 62% of Kent Paxton, who I think he's still the AG of Texas, 62% of his staff is set up to collect child support. If that doesn't tell you that this is not a major money making racket, I don't know what does. And honestly, shame on Ken Paxton for doing that because that's some bullshit. Let's go.
Percent of the people that work for him work in child support enforcement. And to say that they are looking to do things the right way is a serious misstatement of the truth. They are looking, in fact, in our Texas Family Code, there is a place, and I think it's in section 201 point, I don't remember the exact statute.
Okay, let me put that up. There we go. So this is the Texas Family Code. This is wild, you guys. Texas Family Code section 201.107C. The presiding judges and the Title 4D agency shall act and are authorized to take any action necessary to maximize the amount of federal funds available under the Title 4D program. So this is what has been in the Texas code. Now, I don't know. This might not be in the Texas code anymore. I want to clarify that because in Texas, they did just pass a parental rights bill, and there has been a lot of shakeup going on in Texas right now when it comes to the family courts. For instance, I've interviewed Robert Garza on the show a whole bunch, like 3, 4 times, 5 times, or whatever, and he's out of Texas, and he's gotten like 3, 4 bills passed. He's gotten the time taken back bill passed, and then I think also the 3 strikes law and maybe one more. But he's got 8 bills going, and he's getting these bills passed in like 20 other states. But anyway, so the reason I'm saying that is I just want to clarify that I'm not sure if this is still in effect anymore. So I will look into that. But let's keep going. Either way, that was messed up. Even if, yeah.
But that there is it's written that the judges should do things in such a way so as to maximize Title 4D funding. So this whole industry, or as you call a hoax, or whatever you want to call it, it has a lot of racketeering, dirtiness, filth on its, I don't know what you would call it.
These words you're using are not too strong.
I will call it child trafficking, human trafficking. Let's just call it what it is.
I've heard people describe it as just
extortion,
of child kidnapping and extortion. It's essentially a racket.
It is a racket, yeah, exactly what you just said.
It's a huge business that all depends upon seizing control of as many children from their fathers as possible. Mm-hmm. Nobody makes any money, nobody gets any political power until the children are taken away from their fathers. Mm-hmm. So that's the basic, that's the fundamental.
Do you hear that? No one gets any money and no one gets any power till the children are taken away from their fathers. And again, the reason being is because of Title 4D. It financially incentivizes the courts to keep the dads out of the home, because if the dads don't have 50-50 custody of the child, then the dads have to collect child support. Then the courts have to collect child support, meaning then the courts get that 66 cents from the federal government on top of the money that they're getting from the dads. So, yeah, again, let that sink in. All right, let's keep going.
Injustice that gets the ball rolling.
Right.
And as you say, this is a huge business. Large numbers of government officials and private contractors and lawyers and others are making enormous amounts of money on this injustice, and this is why it doesn't change.
Right, right.
And I'll end it with this, you guys, before we get out of here. Obviously, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell. But they're making huge amounts of money. Think about this. How many of you out there, dads, leave a comment in the leave a comment in the comment section and let me know. Have your attorneys for the most part been absolutely garbage, complete freaking trash? Like, have they really done nothing? Let me know, because I know in my experience, I can honestly say I've had one good attorney, and it wasn't even here in Washington. It was in Oregon. Phenomenal attorney. Every attorney I've had out here in Washington so far has been absolutely poo-poo, dude. Like just nothing, just straight crap. Like it just hasn't been good. But yeah, let me know if that's been your guys' experience. But anyways, this is Dr. Stephen Baskerville. I want to say it's probably Baskerville. But yeah, like I said, he wrote this book right here. Let me click out on my screen real quick. Okay, there we go. So, anyways, he wrote this. He wrote this right here, taken into custody, and I'm going to be having him on the show here in a few months. So I'm super excited. But once again, that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. And I love you, but God loves you way more than I do. All right. Until next episode, I'm out. Peace.